Ohayo gozaimasu. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this morning's Dharma School service. We'll begin with uh, the reading of Sambujo, followed by Juseige. So if you please join us in the reading of Juseige. Namanda, 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 namanda. 一心门教心啊和满足，随分着生啊，那我们有空，本应爱随修。三兄平和，随分着生啊，那西就不从我，要说着结果，我飘迷上。随分着生啊，你有颗金秋年，这也是梦游，是可么着么，一生天灵心。今日天来过，什么才能说就三颗苗？我才是呀困难，爱一起年。每时过莫安，黑松秋困难，自那自真修门，可所就满足，一有若结果。내 같은 서적이 된 공분에 이슈가이 호소 고세 권어구호 조나이 슈츠 쇠모 시신 Namanda, Namanda, Namandas, Namanda, Namanda, Namandas. If you would please join now in the reading of the Golden Chain. I am a link in Amida's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I will keep my link bright and strong. I will be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will think pure and beautiful thoughts, say pure and beautiful words, and do pure and beautiful deeds. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Good morning. Welcome to this morning service. It's nice to have this rain, but I have to be careful. This morning, as I was driving in to the temple, because it hasn't rained for such a long time, my windows are all have dust on it, so the rain kind of sticks to the window, and it's a little hard to see. And it's the roads are slick, and because we haven't had rain for such a long time, oil and those kinds of things are piling up, have been piling up on the road. And so with this first rain, the roads are kind of slick. The news reports were talking about all of these accidents that were happening on the highways. So we have to be extra careful. Although we welcome the rain also can be a source of um, difficulties for us. It's really beginning to, um, the weather is beginning to change and really beginning to um, become our winter weather. We still have a few more weeks, a couple more weeks to the year. But I remember many years ago now when we had our New Year's Day service. Our sprinklers were on the night before, and in the morning when we came in, uh, it was so cold that the sprinkler system, the water had frozen on the sidewalk, and so we had to figure out how to get rid of that ice because it was so dangerous. If people would walk on that, it would be slippery and people could fall from standing on that ice. But it was so cold that the water froze, and it was kind of nice. It was fun seeing all of that, but it was very cold, very dangerous to have that ice on the sidewalk. Uh, this morning, as we do every Sunday, we read the Golden Chain. One of had a student interview this past week. I forget what college or university that she called from, and actually we spent 2 days, two calls that we spent time on talking about Buddhism and about Jodo Shinshu. And one of the things she asked was, she had watched our service on YouTube, and she said, "What is this golden chain?" And I said, "Well, I think it originated not that long ago, but it kind of expresses this interdependency that we have with the world around us, that we should be mindful of how our behavior can affect the world around us, and that we should be kind and gentle to every living thing, last night I was reminded by my family of how sometimes I'm not as mindful as I should be. Uh, as we shelter in place, things are. Um, the garage now is my Zoom room. I use that, and well, not just my Zoom room, but Kathy uses that as well for yoga, Saturday morning yoga with Mikami Sensei. And but now, what I used to use in the past as a workshop. If I wanted to work on a project, I'd move the car out, bring out a table, and do some projects on the table. That now the my our Zoom equipment is on. And so the wood that I would use to make projects or work on projects is kind of stacked up along one side of the garage. And because I haven't been using that for a long time, there are now, I think, I've seen mice coming in and out of that wood pile. And we can, and it's not just well, it is kind of a pile. It's not, it's not neatly stacked. And so there's enough room in there for the mice to kind of take up habitat, take up um, uh, living in this wood pile. And we can hear them in the crawl space above our rooms too. Um, and this kind of happens every so many years when we have creatures living in that crawl space. And so uh, we were talking about it. I said, well, okay, I'll go get some bait to put out to take care of the mice. And then I went to go do something else, and I came back again, and they said, "Don't get bait." And I thought, "Oh no," because with bait, right, it's poison for the mice. So that's the first thing, right? I'm going to poison mice so that it's convenient for us, for me, to put the mouse bait or this rodent uh, bait out. And it's bait. We're killing the mice by putting this bait out. They would come and eat the bait, and eventually, I think uh, they're unable to drink water because of that, and so often they'll come out and they'll die outside. But I said, don't do that, because first of all, we're going to be killing uh, these animals. And then if these animals die from the poison, uh, they may die. We don't know where they're going to die, so they may die outside somewhere, where other animals may eat that and will ingest that poison. Uh, in our next door neighbor's yard, there's a tree that uh, they took the top off the tree. And this past summer, I haven't noticed it recently, but there was an owl that was perched on top of that tree. And it seemed like it was about a foot and a half tall. And so a large animal. And so if I poison these mice that come out and die in the yard, not just the other animals in the neighborhood, maybe cats might find it, or uh, this owl might also uh, eat these mice and then would ingest these poisons. And then it's not just other animals that might eat this poisoned mice, but if these mice who have poison in them begin to decompose someplace, then uh, as they decompose, these poisons will get into the soil and can contaminate the soil. And we don't, really think about. I don't think about these things all that much, although I should, because I keep talking about how important the environment is and how important our relationship to the world around us is, and I should be more mindful about how our behavior affects the world around us. And then at the not the first opportunity, but then the first thing I think about when we have a problem is to go back to doing the things that I used to do in the past. When it is an opportunity to change behavior, my behavior, as I reflect on how it affects the world in a way that causes and can cause more difficulties. So I'm looking at Amazon now. How can I take care of these rodents that are in our house? And it's not. I shouldn't say it's not healthy, but it isn't. I mean, it could carry disease, or they could chew on wires and cause all kinds of problems. And so it's something that I need to do. And so I'm reading about apparently electronic, ultrasonic things don't really work that well, not very consistent. My first idea is go to something electronic to get rid of these, to scare them out of the house. But that apparently doesn't work very well. And what might work better is something that Randy Suzuki suggested a long time ago, is repellent. And it just has odor from either predators in granular form or in pellet form that you kind of scatter around. And the odor from will dissuade the animals or the mice from living in our home. So I talked about this in our Sangha Padma class this morning, and talked about how Shakyamuni Buddha, there's a story of Shakyamuni Buddha. When he was very young, he sat alongside a field where there was a farmer plowing the field. As the farmer was plowing the field, as he turned over the earth, all of these bugs come out of the because their homes are disturbed. They come out of the ground, and behind the plow of the farmer are usually birds. And you can look at video nowadays of people, who in other parts of the world, or even in our country, where farmers are plowing. You can see these birds come, and they're following the earth as it's being turned over, and all of these bugs and creatures in the soil are coming up, and they're there to eat those creatures. And Siddhartha was observing this taking place, and he thought, this is the way we live, taking the lives of others in order to survive. And this happened early in his life, and it was something that it affected him, that caused him to think more deeply about how we affect the world around us. The things that we do, that we learn from Buddhism, is old. It's 2,600 years ago when Siddhartha shared this experience, but it's relevant today. Whether we have mouse in the house, and whether we want to get rid of or find a way to cohabitate with these creatures, to be aware of how our behavior affects the world around us, to observe and to think about, and to behave in a way that the principles of Buddhism encourages us to behave. I have to now think about how I'm going to resolve this problem. Maybe I'll call Mr. Steve Onishi, our property manager, and our next president, and say, you have to get rid of the mice in our house, but I won't do that, Steve, so don't worry. It's a way to think about things that we just kind of do normally. Uh, but when we consider our behavior has consequences. And Shakyamuni Buddha reminded us of that uh, many centuries ago, and it's still true for us today. So stay tuned. Hopefully, there's a resolution to this. Um, and maybe it's a matter of just waiting until the season changes and they won't feel the necessity to live indoors. And in the meantime, we can live uh, together in harmony, in life together. Okay, thank you very much, everyone, and please be safe. Uh, Take care of those who are in need, those who are able to help others. Please do so. Again, thank you very much for joining us for this morning's service. As we conclude, will you please join in Gassho and Nenbutsu? Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, thank you. Go to class. See you next week. Oh, this afternoon, 11:30. Well, that's not quite afternoon, but at 11:30 today, we will convene our annual general meeting of the San Jose BitSwings membership. So if you are a member, please attend this meeting. It'll be conducted over Zoom. There are links on the BitSwing webpage. So members can participate in this afternoon's Zoom meeting, our annual general meeting. Okay, thank you. See you later. Bye bye. Good morning. Welcome to this morning service. We'll begin this morning service with the reading of Sambujo, followed by Junidai. So if you'll please join us in Sambujo and Junidai. Namanda, 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 namanda.
Okay, let us join reading Three Treasures. Please join me in Gacho. Hard is it to be born into human life, now we live in it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of Brisk One, now we hear it. If do not deliver ourselves in the present life, no hope is there that we shall be free from suffering and sorrow in the ocean of birth and death. Let us reverently take refuge in three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in Buddha. May we all together absorb into ourselves the principle of your way of enlightenment, and awaken in ourselves our supreme will. I take refuge in Dhamma. May we all together be submerged in the depth of doctrine and gain wisdom as the beauty of the ocean. I take refuge in Sangha. May we all together become units in the true accord of being in harmony, in the spirit of universal brotherhood, free from the bondage of selfishness. Even through ages of myriads of kalpas, how is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine? Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namo
Namo
Amida
Amida
Butsu.
Butsu. Okay, at the beginning of my Dhamma talk, I'd like to read the echo part. So please show me Gasho again. May this merit virtue be shared equally with all beings. May we together awaken the body-mind and be born in the realm of serenity and joy. Gan ni shikudoku, byōdō sei issai, dōhotsu bodai-shin, ōjō anrakkoku. Namo Amida Butsu.
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 Namo
Namo
Amida
Amida
Butsu.
Butsu. Good morning, everyone. Ohayo gozaimasu. So I guess this phrase may sound familiar to you. So as I said, this is the echo part of sutra chanting. We chant at the end of the sutra chanting. So we rechanted this morning too. So this echo was quoted from Kanmuryo Jukyosho, which was the commentary written by Shantao in China. Shantao is one of the 7 patriarchs in our tradition. If you always attend this Sunday service together, when you come to this part, maybe you may feel relieved to hear this part because you will know the sutra chant is almost done, right? Almost finishing. So actually, so do I. But this is not something to let you know the end of the sutra chanting. I like this part, this phrase, but it's not because it tells us the end of the sutra chanting. But I like this. I like its profound message that this phrase includes. So, what does echo mean? Echo means the directing of virtues from Amida Buddha to each of us. This is the most primary part of Jodo Shinshu teaching. What we do in Jodo Shinshu tradition is to just receive all the virtues directed by Amida Buddha. Okay, let us hear the translation of echo again. May this merit virtue be shared equally with all beings. May we together awaken the body-mind and be born in the realm of serenity and joy. The point is that this is not only our own wish to be able to receive Shinjin from Amida and the birth into the Pure Land, but also this is included the wishes for others' happiness, that we together awaken the body-mind. I think this means the joy of sharing the same virtue directed by Amida. This is based on Amida's wish that every living thing receive the same spring virtues equally, whether monopolizing it. So Amida never abandons anybody until the last person receives these virtues. So that is why Amida is the Buddha of infinite life and conceivable light, so that Amida can reach to every living thing in any time. So Amida Buddha assures us to be born into Pure Land, to become Buddha by accomplishing the spring practices and giving us exactly the same special virtues equally. So please recite Nembutsu together. This is the same Nembutsu. My Nembutsu and Rinban's Nembutsu and your Nembutsu are our same Nembutsu, because this is what Amida Buddha is sharing with us here and now. Nembutsu sounds different because the reciting person is different and the voices are different. But my Nembutsu and Rinpa Nembutsu and your Nembutsu is filled with same Amida's virtue to make us attain enlightenment. By the way, have you cooked curry? When it comes to curry, there are many different kinds of curries. There are Indian curry, Thai curry, Singaporean curry, Myanmar curry, Pakistan curry, Japanese curry, and so on. So, which curry came up on your mind? In my case, Japanese curry came up on my mind first because I'm from Japan. Maybe if you ask you to cook Japanese curry with the same curry roux, it could be different depending on your recipe. The recipe which I tried the other day was to use only sliced onions, sliced oak, butter for the main ingredients, and add some Worcestershire sauce for the secret ingredients. It was not that bad, so please try it. Yeah, my mom in Japan loves cooking curry too. She thinks her curry is special. She puts onions, sliced onion, carrots, potatoes, daikon, radish, sliced beef in her curry. She always do it with many spices such as turmeric, garlic, garam masala, cumin, cinnamon, and so on. And her curry is like Indian Japanese curry. Yeah, I like that. But sometimes people add some soy sauce, instant coffee powder as their secret ingredients. So if you try to make the standard curry, it could be different depending on what you use for it, uh, the amount of water, and so on. What is your recipe? Everyone can make the different curry, cook the different curry because everyone has their own preferences, and everyone has different skills and different thoughts. So when it comes to Nembutsu, if the virtue of this Nembutsu depends on our abilities, our skills, and personalities, it will be different person to person. Same virtues guide to the same enlightenment, same goal to the Pure Land. What if it was different? What if it depends on your ability, the number of the Nembutsu we counted? It will be a big problem. The different virtue guides us to different way, which may not to be a Pure Land, maybe to the world of hell where hungry goes. It is just like when you get on the different airplane. It is obvious that we head to the different destination. However, Nembutsu that Shiran Shonin shows us is different. Our abilities, our situations, our background, and even who we are don't matter in Nembutsu because Amida had already perfectly completed so that every living thing can be born into your same Pure Land. No matter who you are, whether you're sick or healthy, old or young, poor or rich, smart or stupid, whether those beings are walking or sitting, standing or lying down, where Amida Buddha's virtue reach, there is the same virtues of Amida, Nembutsu. Whether it is day or light, a night, at the time and on the all places, Amida assured us to include each of us within the same virtue as Amida. Namo Amida Butsu is a proof that Amida's virtue reaches here and now for you. So here you know that you've over. So please, please recite Nimbutsu again. No doubts. So now here you know what you already have done. Have everything. There's nothing we should add. Therefore, it doesn't matter whether you recite Nembutsu or how many times you have recited Nembutsu. The most important thing is how we hear Amida's vow and accept our birth in the same Pure Land in our lives. Jodo Shinshu is a teaching for every living thing. The Shinai Shonin expressed his joy and he received the virtue of Amida as follows. When I consider deeply the vow of Amida, which arose from 5 kalpas of profound thought, I realized that it was entirely for the sake of myself alone. I thought this phrase sounded so arrogant at first, but I realized it was my misunderstanding. I learned that Shinran Shonin accept that there is no border between oneself and others. So he understood that this Nembutsu path, which guides him to the Pure Land, is also for every living thing to be assured to be born into Pure Land. We are different, but as long as Amidas guide us the Buddhahood through the same path, we will be able to see again in the same place as Buddha, whenever our lives end. It is not by our own power. Everything is done with Amida's power. Same virtue, Nembutsu, Namo Amida Butsu. Our salvation would never happen if one of them was excluded. So we can say every living thing is assured to be born into Buddha, means each of us is guaranteed. So each of you is a part of each of their salvation. It would never happen without you. But fortunately, it was successfully come true as our hearing and reciting Nembutsu here and now. 願に淑読平等性一切同発菩提心往生安楽国 I think this is the most important idea in Mahayana Buddhism to extend their compassion to others, not only for their sakes. So this is why Chantal put this verse at the end of every sutra for sutra chanting, to make us remember Amida's basic vows and his wish. Chantal's wish is for each of us to be able to rejoice the virtue of Nembutsu from Amida and respect others as fellow practitioners who share equally the same virtue and make us attain the same enlightenment altogether. So every time you recite echo this part, so please remember that each of our lives is being guided to the same enlightenment, same virtue of Amida Buddha, by the same virtue of Amida Buddha. No matter how much our minds and lives are all over the place. Thank you for listening. So I'd like to conclude my Dhamma talk with Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu.
Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you.
Thank you, Sensei. Today at 11:30, the Bitsing will convene its annual general meeting. So if you are a member of the Bitsing, please plan to join us for that meeting. We are also for the next, for next week, our speakers will be for the Dharma School service, Sumi Tanabe, and for our Sunday 10:10 service, Michael Jones would be the speakers. Now, hopefully, Sumi has been having problems with her internet connection or her computer connection, and so her Zoom may not be working by next week. Hopefully, it's up and running by next week. But right now, the plan is for Sumi Tanabe to be our speaker for the Dharma School service, and Michael Jones as our speaker for the 10:10 service. So please plan to come and join us for that. Thank you again very much for participating in these services. It's a challenging time, but we are adapting. We are conducting services, not just our Sunday morning services, but memorial services, funeral services as well, and interviews. And well, Friday we had Cub Scouts do a virtual tour of our Hondo. So we're even doing tours of the Hondo, although virtually, still participating or providing the kinds of activities that we would normally have during the year. But again, thank you everyone for being here this morning. Please take care. Please be safe. As we conclude, will you please join in Gassho and Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you, everyone.